This is Olivia Olson, and you're listening to Leaders in Next podcast.
Welcome to the latest edition of Leaders in Next podcast. This past offseason, the Michigan women's basketball team lost over half of its minutes played in scoring production to the transfer portal. Coach Barnes Arico has replenished the program with fresh faces, including 5 freshmen who make up the highest rated recruiting class in program history. For the first time in program history, the University of Michigan women's basketball team had 2 players named McDonald's All-Americans, in Olivia Olson and Silas Swords. And we're excited to have Olivia on the podcast. Olivia, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
We're looking forward to it. We started this podcast in April, and you're the first guest who plays a sport other than football. So we're kind of excited to hear a different story. Before we jump into the serious stuff, it's not that serious. We thought we'd have some pregame warm-up questions would help.
Perfect.
So I'm going to start off. If you weren't a basketball player, what professional sport would you want to play?
I would definitely do soccer. I did that competitively all growing up, so that'd be my next in line, I would say.
And you played soccer growing up, I know. And so, quick question related to that. We know that your brother plays college soccer, right? University of Portland?
Yep.
And you were goalie. If you gave him 10 penalty shots, how many would he score against you?
I'd give him 6 because they're hard to save.
Oh, they're hard. So you'd prevent 4. Okay. I mean, that seems reasonable. And you wouldn't cut him any slack because he's your brother, right?
No, there's no way. I think he'd miss 1, he'd make 6, and I'd save 3.
Okay.
Well, I've always wondered, is it purely guessing? Like when you're going like left, right, top, bottom, are you guessing, or is there like, would you scout them? Like see, look at patterns? Yeah,
in our state championship game, my senior year, we had a PK in the state finals, and I ended up saving it, and we won 1-0. And that one, we scouted where that kicker was going to go. So I knew she was going to the right. So I went there, but usually my coaches say not to guess. So you want to kind of just see based on where they're kicking, and you try and save it the best.
Okay. Well, the brother's on notice.
You called him out. He's got to get 6.
We might tag him, see if he comes back.
I know you athletes are a lot of type A personalities, but do you have any particular pet peeves, particularly with your teammates?
No, I would just say people who don't work hard, and just kind of show up without working hard. That's probably kind of it.
This is far less serious, but I heard my wife was telling me that her father, so my father-in-law, shout out Blake, he used to eat dinner as a family with headphones on because he hated the sound of their chewing so badly. and I just learned that for her whole childhood, her dad ate dinner with noise suppressing headphones. So, everyone's got their thing.
Yeah.
That's some loud chewing. At the games, for those of us who've been in the games, during the timeouts, there's always some kind of shooting contest, some sort. Do you find yourself your attention wandering away from listening to the coach, looking at them and saying, boy, I could really help them, with their shooting technique? Have you ever watched any of those kids shoot?
The only one that I really paid attention to was when someone hit a half quarter. It might have been the first game or something like that, where the whole arena erupted. And so that's the only one I really saw, but usually I try and be locked in. But I sometimes peek up a glance at the big board and see stuff.
Would they win, Dad? Do you remember what the prize was for the half court?
I don't. It's sometimes I want to say $10,000, but I don't think that's right. Yeah.
That'd be serious money.
That would, for anybody, yeah. How about favorite place to eat in Ann Arbor?
I like Frida's.
Oh, okay.
That's my favorite.
I think you've been there, Dad. I think.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
We went there with a couple players. I think so.
Well, I'm glad you asked. So food. So related segue. We've got to know. We haven't had this debate on the podcast. We've had it off air. But can you give us your opinion on whether or not pineapple belongs on pizza?
I don't think it does. I I like the Canadian bacon on it, like the Hawaiian pizza, but then I'll take the pineapple off and I'll eat it separate, but I won't eat it together.
You like Canadian bacon because you're from Minnesota and you're close to Canada? Is that a shout out to your northern suburb, or
Yes, of
Okay.
course.
By the way, for the record, pineapple does not belong on pizza.
It does. It does. You just have to open your mind, broaden your horizons.
What's your favorite show to binge watch?
I like Outer Banks.
Okay.
I've not watched that yet. It's been on like my should but haven't in my little queue.
Yeah.
Yeah, shout it out. What's so good about it?
I just like the adventure part of it where they're always adventuring and finding something new, the treasure and stuff, and they're kind of just living their best life all with the friends. They're all living together.
Ah, well,
Yeah.
that leads to the next question, because living together, based on something I read, I think you have three roommates, three
Hmm.
other freshmen. Um, how do you guys break down your roles and responsibility? Like, what, as a roommate, are you the messy one? Are you the clean one? Is your responsibility grocery shopping? Like, how do you break down how do you ensure that you're the best roommate
Hmm.
possible?
Well, my personal room is a little messy, not dirty, but like just clothes a little. I have a lot of clothes, so sometimes I have a hard time keeping those in order, but everything else is clean. Our apartment is very clean. Like we all clean up after ourselves cooking, clean the microwave, clean everything once we're done with it. We each buy our own groceries, so we don't really share that. I mean, if like we'll have house dinners, so we'll all contribute, but there's two bathrooms, so we each have two people per bathroom, and we kind of just take turns cleaning it. And yeah, it's been really good. We have Christmas decorations up, and yeah, it's been really good so far.
I
Well,
mean, these freshman accommodations have significantly improved over the years.
I was gonna say, I mean, they're next level. I will tell you, you're one step ahead of me. I actually didn't know in college. I didn't know until after college that you actually physically could clean a microwave. I thought they could not be cleaned, and that might ruin their structural integrity. So,
I can vouch for that, having been there.
so you're one step ahead of me.
Go ahead, Dan.
Talent wise, and I know you're from Minnesota, so these might be. I don't want to judge. They might be very dispositioned towards winter sports, but if you were on a talent show, what talent would you display?
Talent?
And hidden or not hidden, this could be something people know about. But it could be something not even your teammates know.
I like to craft and be entrepreneurial. So I don't know, I had a couple businesses at home. So that was kind of, so maybe showcasing that or something, but I don't have a lot of hidden talents. I like crafts though. That's my.
So maybe I saw the one picture. So maybe driving the John Deere tractor, standing on the seat, not sitting, with your driving with your foot or something, and steering, something like that. Okay.
All right. We'll get into landscaping more, but maybe anything in the landscaping genre. Are you just you can cut a clean edge or I don't know, rip a leaf blower. I don't know.
I can do a good leaf blower. I can put the leaves on the tarp and drag them.
There you go.
Yeah, good amount of stuff.
What's on the team? Who's most likely to succeed outside of basketball?
Outside of basketball,
I would say. So, for example, we just recently had an election. We elected a president. Who on the team is the future president?
Brooke Daniels, for sure.
Oh, really?
She is. She's smart and she wants to be a lawyer, so she knows a lot of the that stuff. And I would definitely have her be my president.
Okay, all right. Well, she's probably got a few years to work her way up the party, but we'll keep an eye out for her.
Yeah.
All right, we'll finish this up with. If you want, you can ask us one question. You don't get 5 or 10 questions. You can ask us one question.
What do you love most about Michigan?
You go first, Dad.
I love the fact that it set the education I received at Michigan set me up for the 40 plus years I've had after Michigan. And, I went to graduate school at a different school, but my undergraduate work, I always feel like was the vast majority of maybe, some of the things that I've done in life after that. So, and an education is like the greatest gift you can give somebody and they can never take it away. Mm-hmm. And I think that's, for me, that's what, my favorite thing about Michigan.
Yeah, it's just like it never stops giving to you. As much as you try to give back to it, I feel like the school, it always gives more. And my dad said it really well. And it's amazing. Like, we'll go to bowl games or stuff that, is, call it, off. And just like the connection is crazy. Like we went to Arizona a few years ago and, there's just 50,000 people at all, and, they sold out. And I just, the connection people have to it makes it feel like home. And yeah, it's always finding new ways to give back to you, open up doors for you. And we try to give as much as we can, but I always think it outdoes you in terms of, what it means. And it's actually pretty cool because we obviously moved here, was a student, didn't live here for a while, came back. Now I've got 2 kids, and it's equally as good of a place to raise a family, which is cool, which I don't think most college towns are. So got a lot of good stuff.
Yeah. Now, hopefully you have a similar experience. I know you're just getting started, but so let's talk a little bit more about your time. First of all, we touched on the some of the early years. We know you were sounds like you started off in soccer and dance.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
How did you why those 2 things?
Soccer, just because that was kind of like the first sport my whole family played. My brother and sister were big in soccer, and so my brother's only like 15 months older than me, so we kind of played on the same team rec league growing up. And that was just kind of what my parents put us in first. And then my sister was a dancer, so she was like a competitive dancer. She's 5 years older than me. So I wanted to do whatever she did. So as like a younger sister always does. So I wanted to follow her footsteps in being a competitive dancer. But my mom, I like wasn't good at all. I would copy everyone around me because I couldn't remember the dances and I towered over everyone. So my mom told me to try basketball. And then I was like, okay. And so I quit dance.
I'm just curious, as a parent of 6 children, I mean, sometimes you have to have tough conversations with them, but without crushing their dream. So was it like she said, hey, Liv, I need to talk to you. This dance thing, are you really sure? Because I don't think it's the right thing for you. I mean, did she break the news to you, or did she just say, I think basketball's better?
Yeah, she was just kind of like, let's try basketball. And I was like, okay. I didn't really faze me. I just wanted to do whatever, was open-minded, but yeah. And
I've seen that, you like a lot of kids, you play basketball in the driveway, 9-foot hoop. I assume that I looked at, that's probably because the roof line prevented it from being 10 foot. Either that, or it's because like I had an adjustable hoop at home and I like pulling it down to 9 feet so I could dunk because I couldn't get 10. But now you said you played basketball earlier, in another interview with your dad. Was your dad a basketball player at any level?
No, him and my mom both played in high school, but that's it. Oh. My dad ran cross country and track in college. My mom played volleyball. Yeah, no one else. It was just me play basketball. My siblings too.
You started like really young though. When people talk about getting in sports, it sounds like you were at this Legacy Hoops Academy when you were in 4th grade or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess they identified that they said, hey, if you're going to play basketball, we want you to do it really well. And they sent you to this Hoops Academy, which has a couple locations in Minnesota. Mm-hmm. What was that like at that age?
Yeah, it was cool. My dad, I didn't start like for the first couple years playing. My dad just kind of trained me, and he didn't really see the needing a trainer at that point. Right. But once I started to really like it more and wanted to get better, he signed me up for once a week at Legacy, and I would do it with small groups, and because he still didn't want to like pay for me to do a personal trainer. So he was like, you can do it in groups. Like I would play against the guys, and that would help me get better. And so did that for a couple years, and then eventually got another like just a regular personal trainer one-on-one, and that probably wasn't till 8th grade I got like a personal trainer.
Wow.
Well, speaking about playing against the guys, we missed one family member in the lineup earlier, I think. Your brother, Morgan.
Mm-hmm.
Now, our research team has told us he's in the 5'8", 5'9" range.
Yeah.
So as you got older, I mean, how bad was that? Were you posting him up? I mean, by the way,
You're taller than he is,
yeah,
right?
and I'm 5'9" at elevation, so I get it. I'm there with him, completely average, nothing wrong with that. But there must have been a point where you were wiping the floor with him.
Yeah, I was kind of always bigger than him. Like, just ever since I was little, I was always a little bigger. And so I just kept growing and he didn't grow as much. But yeah, it was kind of just like we grew up as twins, basically. Like, we did everything together. So he's honestly a pretty good shooter. He shoots two-handed, though. So he doesn't quite have his form dialed, but he makes them. So I don't know how. But we like to play.
Well, that reminds me, Dan and I were talking about this because everybody plays horse, or some shooting game, and you say we want to know, is it okay if both shooters are right-handed? Is it okay for one to call a left-handed shot if knowing full well that the other person is totally incapable of shooting left-handed? Is that morally right? Is that okay in the game of horse to do, in your opinion?
I think it's perfectly fine that I do that. I like to play as many little tricks as I can, so any little combo move I include in my horse games.
Dan, I think you have your answer there.
But you would say if someone has to resort to doing that to beat you at that sport, that they're likely an inferior shooter straight up. Like, they can't beat you, so it's like, okay, we got to go left hand. Would you agree? It's almost a parlor trick.
I guess, but I also think it's part of the game to win. So,
there you go.
Yeah.
I like it. Just competitor. Well, clearly you had an incredible high school career. I'm going to read off some of, for those, and obviously these are all, people can find this. These accolades aren't hiding, but it's an amazing high school career. You were a McDonald's All-American, a 5-star recruit. Our research says you were ranked as high as number 3 during your high school career. You led your high school to back-to-back state championship. In 2024, you were the Gatorade Minnesota Player of the Year. You were Minnesota Miss Basketball that year. You finished your high school career with 2,000 in the 2,000 point, 1,000 rebound club. 2024 Naismith Girls High School All-American. Incredible accolades. The one I was wondering, I don't know how you rank those. I mean, one that was earlier than the 2024 that sounds awfully cool is in 2021, you were on the under 16 FIBA team that won the gold medal, beat Canada it was a close game. I think you beat them by 60. And what was that like at 15 years old to represent? I mean, as I get older, I get more patriotic, I guess. And it just sits there and I think, how incredible honor to represent your country. At 15, what was it like?
Yeah, it was crazy. My favorite memory from that is just after the game, when we got our medals, hearing the national anthem, and seeing all our parents and stuff with the flag. I'll never forget that. But it was an honor, playing for your country and just being able to we were a really unselfish team, and so it was a fun group of girls to play with. So I was really excited for the opportunity.
Now, originally you weren't invited to be on that team. You had to apply. Walk us through, for those listening, don't know the difference. I mean, what was that process like?
Yeah, so before COVID, they would have a 300-person tryout and cut it down. But since it was around COVID time, they did. I think they did 30. No, they invited 20 people, 20 kids, and then 10 could apply. So only I wasn't one of the 20 that got invited, and so they announced that before. And so I was disappointed in that. It was my grade and a grade older.
Right.
So there were a lot of kids that were eligible, but I was I'm just gonna try and apply, and my coaches helped me and stuff because I wanted to have a shot at it. And then my application got accepted and I went, and once you got there, it was kind of a blank slate. Everyone was in the same boat. The committee didn't know who was necessarily invited and who wasn't. And so, yeah.
Did you know going into that game that you were going to beat Canada by 60? Like, had you watched film and like, man, this is going to be a cakewalk, or was this like, expected or no? Because that's a lot especially for a finals.
Yeah, no, it was not expected. We were going into it as we're going to compete as hard as we could, but we weren't going to let up. We wanted to win by as much as we could, and so at the beginning it was a close game, but it was like 14. I think they were up 16-14 or something, but then we kind of took off.
Did you guys make any side bets with the Canadians, like, hey, losers got to take Justin Bieber or something like that, or did you just play straight up?
Just straight up.
When you were growing up, every athlete seems to have a favorite, sports star they look up to, whether it was NBA, WNBA. And who was as you're growing up, who was your kind of basketball idol?
I liked Maya Moore.
Okay.
She played for the Lynx, and that was our hometown team. So I liked her, and then I liked Cristiano Ronaldo, soccer player. Oh, my brother and I would always watch him. And then I liked Steph Curry growing up too.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And did you interact? I know Paige Beckers is from, near where you are in Minnesota growing up. I know she's 2020 class, so she's 4 years. I mean, did you interact at all with her during AAU or any other kind of sports basketball in Minnesota?
Not really. I mean, we know each other just like through social media and stuff and mutuals, but not a ton of interaction. But she's been really supportive and stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah, she's has a heck of a career going. Before we talk kind of getting into college, I saw somewhere that as an 8th grader, you told Coach Swan with the Minnesota Fury AAU team that you had a goal that you were going to dunk in a game before you finished high school.
Yeah.
We had our team of 20 researchers scanning YouTube. Maybe we missed it. Any chance that you achieved that goal? Because that's a heck of a goal.
No, I didn't achieve it. I can touch rim, but I never got a high enough vert to actually dunk. So, yeah,
right.
Still work in progress.
Yeah, it's still 2 points. So, yeah, you've been scoring. You're the second leading scorer on the team right now, so you're scoring plenty of points without dunking it. So after that unbelievable high school career, now you have 40 offers. It sounds like for college. Let's talk about your first offer. Because I think it came when you were like 13 years old in 8th grade.
Yeah.
How did that, I just think about my kids when they were 13, having some coach walk up to them and say, hey, I got an offer that you can come to college and play for free. It's like, what? You're 13. Who was your first offer and how did it come about?
My first offer was from Minnesota. Okay. And it was after a game. Coach Whalen, Lindsay Whalen was the coach at the time. She came to one of my high school games in December. So December of my 8th grade year for my high school team, watched a game, and then she called me, or there's recruiting rules. So she had to text my coach. I had to call her. We the coach is kind of like the mediator, but so I called her and she was just kind of like, I see so much potential in you. I'd love to be your coach. I want to offer you to Minnesota. And I was like, wait, what? And took a second because I wasn't expecting it. I never really thought of the possibility of being able to play in college. Like when I was in 8th grade, I kind of just played. I wasn't thinking about that. And so I never really comprehended it. And so I thought she offered me, but I wasn't sure. I didn't want to like assume. And so I went upstairs and told my parents, and I was like, Coach Willen just offered me a scholarship. And my dad was like, no, she didn't. Like my parents would not believe me. And they had to ask my AAU coach to ask her if that was true and all this. So yeah, it was a really cool moment though.
That's pretty funny. I can imagine a parent thinking like, there's no way you're 13. Like nobody called. No one did that. But I mean, now, did you have a dream school? Like as you were getting better and thinking, hey, I'm going to play at the next level. Did you have a dream school in mind that I want them to offer?
Yeah, my dream school was always Duke.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And I assume I didn't look at all 40 offers. I assume Duke, I think, was one of your final three, right?
Yeah, it was my top three.
Okay. So what's the process when somebody, and we've had some football players on. I mean, all of you highly accomplished high school folks have lots of offers. What was the process that you and your parents sound like you got together? How did you narrow down the 40 to, it sounds like you went to 10 and then maybe to 3, but how did you call the list?
Yeah, it was hard, but I wanted to start early. I didn't love the process. It kind of took like not a toll on me because it was it's a really cool opportunity to talk to all the coaches, but it kind of got to be a lot. So I wanted to narrow down kind of right away. And so I got a lot of visits out of the way to see if I liked it, didn't like it. I would take a lot of unofficial visits.
Okay.
I mean, we would do a couple like visits in a trip. Like when I came to Michigan, we did Michigan, Michigan State, Notre Dame. We drove and did all those. And then just kind of, yeah, seeing if it aligned with my interests. I liked watching practices to see how intense they were and just seeing campus and going to a football game. But it really came down to like wanting to be like closer to home, but not, I didn't want to stay in state necessarily, but like being in the Big Ten, it allows my parents to be at a lot of games. I didn't want to go super far, like to where it'd be hard to fly to. But yeah.
So geography was kind of one criteria. How important were like other things, academics, program history? What else did you take into account as you kind of knocked these off?
Yeah, so I wanted to go to a highly academic school. Obviously, Duke and Notre Dame. Those were my other two like top ones, and that's high academics. I wanted it's important for our family to like have a good degree and be able to have a good job after like basketball's done. That's what my parents always talked to me about. And then I wanted to go when it came down to everything, like I had offers to go to like very established programs. But I wanted to go somewhere to help the team and help them get to the Final Four and a national championship. And so Michigan hadn't been to a Final Four or championship before. And so I wanted to be a like a part of helping grow the program. And so that was another reason I wanted to help and like kind of be able to contribute right away. And so that was another big factor in my decision.
And how much of the decision to not stay in Minnesota or go to Minnesota was the fact that they have that raised floor? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, we played there for state.
You know what I'm talking about? It's like their floor is like 3 feet off the ground, and I'm always like, is someone just gonna go flying off this thing into the whatever's below there, the abyss?
I know, it's crazy. We played there for our state tournaments and stuff, but yeah, Minnesota, I don't love the campus, so that was a major like turn away for me was the campus.
Well, the good news is
campus vibes, right? Because it's more so like in the kind of in the city, right?
Yeah, it's not really campus like.
Yeah. I mean, the good news is the weather wasn't a factor in your decision because it's having been to Minneapolis several times, any city that has covered walkways, above ground and below and below ground connecting buildings, they do that because the winters are really cold. So so
how much interaction did you have with the other recruits, and kind of what did that how did that play into your decision to come to Michigan? Because obviously you're part of a really highly recruited class. A lot of times we'll talk to some of the other athletes and they'll say, getting to know the people in your class is a big thing. Do you gel? Do you all have the same goals? Do you kind of trust the other people that are coming in? Just curious how much interaction and how big of a factor that played.
Yeah, I was actually the first commit in my class. And so I committed pretty early. I committed going into my junior year of high school. And so that was pretty early in like women's basketball. And so just kind of the coaches kind of allowed me to know who else they were recruiting, and they would have conversations with me. And so once others started committing or visiting, then I started like talking to them and trying to grow relationships with them. And so we just wanted to build a really good class, and mostly like obviously talent wise, but also like-minded people. And so we started so Sila then committed, and I had talked to her before she committed and just said I'd love to play with her. Thought we'd be really good teammates. And then it kind of started slowly growing, and Yeah, but we all didn't like know each other before. We kind of just knew of each other before we got on campus.
Well, it's really cool. You got your own Fab Five thing going on, and
Mm-hmm.
and almost to a T. Do you guys have a similar nickname behind the scenes? Do you guys go by a certain nickname for the class?
Not really. Just we were trying to talk about that because Fab Five's already taken, so we need to come up with another one. But yeah.
Could be a good NIL opportunity to get a brand going. So,
Mm-hmm.
what when you think about your decision to choose Michigan, I know you visited a few times. Was there was there one event or one thing that you said, you know what? Okay, I'm done. It's Michigan. Do you remember, or is it a multitude of things?
Yeah, so I had visited here twice before I committed, and then on my third visit, I ended up committing. It was on Memorial, or no. It was maybe, I don't, it was it was in August, somewhere
I think it was
around
late. Was it
Labor
around
Day.
Labor Day? Yeah, Labor
Yep,
Day.
Labor
Yeah.
Day. Yeah, I think it was that day because we were there on a Monday. And it was really, I wasn't expecting to commit at all. I had just been to Duke and I really liked it there.
Mm-hmm.
But there was a feeling the whole visit, like the competitive energy at practice, like how well I got along with the team and the coaches. I just kind of, there was a feeling there. I loved the campus. And so at breakfast the day before I left, I just had a feeling in my stomach and I wanted to commit. And I tapped my dad under the table and I was like, can I? And he was like, no, it's way too early. But then after breakfast, I just started sobbing. And that had like never happened before. Like I was just like so caught off guard. But I knew it was like the place I wanted to be. And I know like things happen for a reason and like that reaction like was for a reason, and so I kind of just led with my gut instinct and I committed on the visit. My parents let me, and yeah.
Did not you said like you said you committed pretty early? Did you I'm just thinking of the sequencing here, but before you, I think, signed your letter officially, they had a bunch of people under the portal. And
Mm-hmm.
did that cause you any like? Did that freak you out and say, "Hey, man, what's going on at Michigan?" Or you were you well aware the coaches had told you, "Hey, there's going to be some roster ins and outs," and gee, don't worry. Or just curious how you thought of that.
Yeah, I was aware of it. I think a lot of it had to do with like NIL stuff.
Yeah.
But I was all in on Michigan. I was all in on my decision and I wanted to like honor it. And so I had a good relationship with the coaches, with my recruiting class, and wanted to see my like commitment through. And I didn't look back at all.
Okay.
And I was really excited to be
Just
there.
go back to your dad's. Why do you think your dad said no?
He just didn't want me to make like it was like a visit with all my friends. Macy Brown, I was really close with. She's a year older than me, and it was her official visit that weekend. And so I was there with her, and some other friends from across the country. Blanca Thomas and Jordan Lee were with me on that visit. They didn't end up committing here. Um, but it was just a really fun weekend overall, and my dad thought it was like an emotional decision. And he just wanted me to have more time, like go back home and think about it. But at the end of the day, he wanted me to be happy. He wanted me to be happy with my decision, and he didn't want to put any at the end of the day, it wasn't really his decision to make, and so he wanted to guide me, but he was supportive of me, and he knew it was a good place, and so my parents were happy for me.
That's good. Well, we're happy you're here too. And now that you're here, walk us through, what's a typical week in season
Mm-hmm.
for you as a student athlete? I mean, because I think we love giving our listeners and followers a sense of how hard this is to balance both. So I'm just curious, like in season, what's a week look like for you?
Yeah, so I'm taking 12 credits.
Okay.
So we took summer classes, so we got a little bit of credits out but I have class Monday and Wednesday. I have 3 classes from 8 to 9, 9 to 10, and then 11:30 to 1. And then on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I just have class from 11:30 to 1, and then Fridays I have class from 9 to 10, or 8 to 9, 9 to 10. So
Okay.
that's kind of my classes. and then I work out in between. So we have practice every day at 2 o'clock. We have to be there an hour early, so we get there right at 1-ish and start getting ready, get treatment, like pre-treatment and stuff. And we usually have about 3 individual workouts a week, basketball wise. So that's on top of practice. So our practice block is from 2 to 5. And like I could fit a workout in. Usually our workouts are like half hour in season, like basketball wise, just like tuning up stuff. So I could do that like if I wanted to in between a class. So let's say class ends at 10, I could get there and do it from 10:30 to 11, get to my 11:30 class, go to class 11:30 to 1, go right to back here, then get ready for practice. And then usually we'll have weights twice a week. That's after practice. And then we have 2 individual lifts a week too. So they're short, like half hour. But we have to fit that in somewhere in our schedule right before practice. And so yeah, it's a lot of workouts, but
do you use any enhanced forms of transportation to get back and forth to class? Like, are you a moped or like a scooter or I don't know, longboard? I
have my scooter. I have a scooter, and then I have my car here. So
okay,
it's been nice.
Because I was just thinking the same thing. It's like, wow, obviously we're pretty familiar with campus and where your practice is. That's not a lot of, nobody wants to walk that.
Yeah, it's a far walk, at least half hour.
Especially if you're walking in advance of now you're going to do a workout. Why do you want to tire yourself out?
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So now that you're here, we've got 6 games under the belt. What was it like stepping on the court at Chrysler for the first time?
Yeah, it was awesome. I was definitely nervous, but it kind of like right when we started playing, all the nerves kind of went away. I was just excited to like see it through and like actually be there in the moment. We worked really hard this summer, our whole team, and everyone kind of gelled together, and every game we're getting better as a team, and it was an awesome feeling to be there on the court. Since I've been committed for a while, like I kept going to games and coming back and like just waiting for the time to be mine to step on the court, and it's been awesome to actually have the moment here.
How would you describe your game? Like what your positionless? You're a point forward. How would you, when people ask you to describe your game, what do you say?
Yeah, I'm like very versatile. I am positionless. No one really knows what position I am. I can play 1 through 3, even a 4. I can bring the ball up, rebound, bring it up, pass it, drive it, shoot it. So kind of all the above. And it makes for good matchups. If it's in a zone, I can flash up, hit the short corners, so kind of anything. I can do a little bit of everything.
Well, you're again so far through 6 games, second leading scorer on the team, and you're leading the team in blocks. Well, I think after the last game, you got beat out by 1 total for the season. But now you also wear number 1. Mm-hmm. Now, in football at Michigan, there's a big tradition of who gets number 1. A lot of pressure, a lot of notoriety. Maybe not as basketball. There's obviously more people on the football team, so 1. But do you feel like 1 is special? Like, how did you pick that? Because that wasn't your number in high school.
Yeah, it was.
It was.
I wore 1 all high school, all of AAU. It just kind of stuck with me. I think I wore it because I was in like young, and I saw Paige wear it for Hopkins. And so that's what I kind of got it from. And I just loved the number. It's like my lucky number too. So I've always loved 1. So,
because I would think anybody wearing number 1 in any sport, you have to have a little swagger. I mean, 1 is kind of special. So, looks like you're off to a good start to uphold that. You had mentioned earlier, like in the off season, the team gelling. You used the term gelling, and I know Dan and I were curious. I mean, a lot of new faces. Mm-hmm. Both some transfer, the incoming freshmen, some transfers. How did the team? You mentioned that you've gelled and you're getting better and better each game. Any particular things that you guys did in the off season to gel as a team?
Yeah, right away in July, I think it was in July, we went up to Macy Brown's cottage in Muskegon.
Oh,
So it was kind of right away, right when we all got there. And that was like the weekend where it kind of like transformed everything. Like we all got so close, and it was a really good like team bonding weekend. We talked to people we hadn't talked to, just kind of got to know each other. There was no basketball involved, so it was all off the court stuff.
okay.
And it was fun to see like different sides of people. And so that kind of started it all. And we do a lot of team bonding stuff. And it's not even like scheduled by the coaches. It's just like we go over to the seniors' house, or AD is a really good cook, one of the freshmen. So we have the team over for dinner at our apartment. So just kind of stuff like that. We love hanging out with each other.
Nice, nice. Now, women's basketball has grown substantially in the last few years. Uh, what would you tell our followers who maybe haven't been to a game why they should go and see the team play?
I just think it's very like team oriented and fun to watch. Like we're a very fast paced team. We like to score. We like to push the ball in transition, and we have really good ball movement. So like I think it's really good basketball, and it's fun to watch. And so yeah, everyone should come check it out themselves.
Well, I would echo that. I've been to several games this season, and everything you said is true. And for those people worried about their budget, I mean, the tickets are not that expensive, and parking is free at Chrysler for women's basketball. So there's really not a great excuse if you're in the area to come to a game. And it is a lot of fun, and you can get great seats and watch. You guys have put on some really good shows recently. So I think that'll continue as well. So folks, get out there and support the team. You mentioned some of the people left, transfers, maybe an NIL thing. Didn't sound like, I'm just curious. It doesn't sound like it played a big role in your recruitment, but I'm just, did it play any role in your recruitment, either with Michigan or with the other teams?
Yeah, no, I didn't look at it much as like a decision factor for me. I wanted to go to a school where I knew I would thrive, not playing basketball, as well as playing. Like, and to me, like, not everything is about money. And I didn't want that to be like the decision factor. I didn't want to get here and not like it and just make a decision based off money. I wanted to go to somewhere where I knew I would like living. I knew I would like the area. And I knew I would like the people, because like relationships are important to me. And so it wasn't really about the money, but yeah, so that was.
Now, recently I saw you were signed by Champion Circle again. I think fans know that's one of the main collectives at Michigan. Obviously, not looking for you to talk about money, the money figures, but tell us a little bit about what that entails for you. Is that you have to make some social media appearances and things of that nature? What is that relationship with Champion Circle?
Yeah, it's a lot of like local donors, and you sign a contract and then make some posts on your social media and do a couple commitments that are like included in the contract. And so yeah, that's a cool opportunity, and I'm kind of just open to other like opportunities, and kind of seeing what else is out there.
Well, it seems like one of the other things you have is this. Tell us a little bit about Dr. Dish basketball, because I saw that, and for those of you at home working on your jump shot, you may want to listen in here, because maybe you can get them a discount. I don't know, but how did that come about, and what do you do for them?
Yeah, it's a Minnesota-based company. They started in Minnesota, and that's my hometown, or like my home state. But it's right in Minneapolis, and so it's a shooting machine. So it connects to, you like roll it out and it goes under the basket and a big net pops up, and it's an automatic, passes it back to you, and there's a big screen on it where you can click like if you want 2s or 3s or whatever, and you can kind of make your own workout. I have my own workout on there too, like, so people can, if they get it, they can see me like on there and working out with them. But yeah, it's a really cool, like you can get 600 shots up in an hour, like without a rebounder. Like it can be just yourself going in there. So it's really nice. It's a really cool training tool to have to get your shot better. And it doesn't like if you don't have someone to rebound for you, like you just use that. So yeah.
Tell us about the workout. What's your workout that's loaded on there?
I think we shot a couple. I don't know exactly which one's on there, but I think it's like a mid-range pull-up workout, like a little shooting competition. So it can see if they can like beat me on there.
Oh,
so
that's awesome. Really?
Yeah, like beat my score. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And if they do, does that send an email to Coach Barnes or Rico, like saying,
Then she needs to recruit them then.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, does Dr. Dish have like a money back guarantee? Like if you use our product and you still can't beat someone in H.O.R.S.E without shooting with your left hand, that you get your money back or anything like that?
That would be smart, but no.
Yeah, that would be good. We should look into that.
Yeah,
if I know you got the Dr. Dish thing. If we love asking people this question, if you could be like a brand ambassador for any brand, like any NIL deal, what would you pick?
I would say either Nike or who else? I really like Amazon just because it's a little bit of everything. So yeah.
Okay.
I can see the commercial now. Like you're driving the truck, you pull up. Instead of like getting out and walking up to the front door, you're just firing packages, just putting it right on the money, right on their front porch. I could see it now.
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
Dan, I'll let you work on that. Call Phil Knight and see if you can make that happen. Well, Jeff Bezos, but he's gone now. So I know you're just kind of into the NCAA world as a freshman, but you guys get hit with NIL stuff and portal stuff. If you were in charge of the NCAA, any changes that you think you would make to either the portal or NIL rules or anything else as it relates to your experience?
I don't think so as of yet, just because I haven't been like in college for that long, I'd say. But I mean, I like that people are able to go wherever they want. Like if it doesn't fit right with them, then I like that people are able to transfer to like a better fitting school. And I just think NIL is good for the game and good for women, and it's starting to like grow more. It's obviously very popular in like the men's basketball, but you see women are starting to get deals and endorsements, and I think it'll continue to grow, and I think it's good for the game.
We agree. Now, of course, you're an athlete, but you're also a student. So switching gears, student life, you've obviously already taken some summer classes. You're taking 12 credits now. You're still working towards kinesiology?
Yep, sport management and kines.
Okay. And I mean, how do you balance that? I know you went through your schedule earlier. I assume there's a lot of academic support if needed, because unlike football, you guys have 28. You have 28 games.
Mm-hmm.
And now with the expanded Big Ten, a lot of this travel is going to be 4-hour flights, layovers. Who knows? I mean, it's unbelievable. To study through all that. I mean, do you have any? What's your secret to making this work? Is it just going to be balancing, taking summer classes and taking lighter loads maybe in season? Is that kind of the answer?
Yeah, for sure. And we have for freshmen we have mandatory like study hall nights Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, where it's like 2 hours and we have to go and do our homework and stuff and check in with our academic advisors. We can get tutors whenever we want, and if we need it. And so there's a lot of support for us. It's hard to not do well. Like if you do your work, like you'll be good. And so that kind of comes with playing a college sport. Like you need to know that like academics come first, and
Sure.
You need to get that stuff done to be able to play. So yeah.
I think it amazes those Dan and I who went to Michigan and understand the grind just on the academic side, not having played athletics at that level. It's amazing to me that you guys can balance all that. So it's impressive.
The travel schedule for intramural inner tube water polo was not as not as restrictive to my studying. So can't say I know. For sure. We like to sort of talk about ventures maybe after school, after your career. You've done a couple of really interesting things that we wanted to ask you more about. including and starting with, you had your own landscaping business.
Mm-hmm.
Can you shout out Liv's Lawns? What was going on there?
Yeah, it was probably around 7th grade. I started that with my dad. It was just kind of like local. We would do my neighborhoods. He wanted because I was playing competitive soccer still at the time, and so we were traveling all over, and flights were expensive, and so I started that to like help pay for flights for soccer and basketball, and because my dad wanted to know like that it took hard work to like be able to pay for stuff like we wanted to do, and then once I stopped playing like competitive soccer, he kind of just let me keep the money to myself, and I wanted to continue doing it, and so I realized like it was pretty easy money, and I liked like managing myself and like my own work hours, and so I wanted to make a lot of money, and so I kept doing it all through high school, and yeah, I ended up getting like 12 clients at one point. It wasn't huge, but just like neighborhood
Still
people.
though, were you actually doing the lawns yourself?
Yeah, yep.
Dang.
Push. I had a push mower. We would get a little. We had the like edger, trimmer, blower, all the above.
Dang.
And did your dad do it with you, or did you do it like? Do you drive like? Well, wait a minute. Did you have a driver's license for all this time?
No, at the beginning of it, he would come with me, and we would like split the money, and like that
Okay.
would be like him helping me and me paying for some soccer tournaments and stuff. And then we ended up doing like fall cleanups too, so we would get more money doing that by uh like hauling leaves out of people's lawns, and cleaning that stuff up. And then once I got my driver's license, I started like going and bringing the lawnmower to my own like clients.
I got to get you out. I got to get Liv's Lawns at my neighbors who freaking leaves are always blowing in my yard. But that aside, so where's Morgan at in all this? Like I heard Morgan had to take over for a little bit while you were doing some stuff with the U16 team. I mean, how did he
Yeah,
do?
he did good. He did good. He learned. My dad taught me, so my dad taught him too. So he did good while I was gone, but I snatched those clients right back. I didn't want him to have the money.
Wow, I love the entrepreneurial spirit. Are you?
Yes.
I assume Liv's Lawn is currently on hiatus, or did someone else continue the business?
No, it's out of business right now. As of
Okay.
now, I haven't had much time. I didn't do a lot this summer with it, just getting ready to go to school and stuff. But
So it's a good thing you don't have a lawn care business in Ann Arbor, because I don't. You might know Ann Arbor is a fairly progressive city, and they have no mow May, where
yeah,
you're not supposed to mow anything in May, and 90% of the houses in Ann Arbor that participate in that look abandoned at the end of
that's
May.
crazy.
So as a professional landscaper, it would probably drive you nuts. You'd probably go out there, and
I'd
just say, "Hey,
probably go cut them in the middle of the night.
I'll do it for free." Yeah. So
Do you
Yeah.
follow any of the like ASMR lawn care social media accounts like
Yes.
Nathan's Lawn and Gardens and S&B Mowing?
Yes.
Yes, how good are those?
Yep, I follow that one. I like when he does like all the free ones, and
Yeah.
then I see his power
The
cleaning, like
power
the
washing
power
one is
wash.
so
Yeah,
therapeutic.
it's so satisfying.
yeah,
I
the
like it.
Nathan's guy that's awesome. I always wonder, like, did he really find a house that looks that bad? It's amazing
I
someone would
know.
let it get that bad.
Crazy.
So as we kind of wrap up here, what advice would you give young girls starting out in basketball who want to
Mhm.
follow in your footsteps?
Yeah, I would say just to like work as hard as they can in whatever like they find like loving, like even if it doesn't isn't basketball, like just going all in on whatever is their passion, and like being good people and like thanking people for like who have helped them and just like investing like back into people who've helped them.
Awesome. Well, I tell you what, it's been great having you share your background here with our viewers and listeners, because there's a lot of people know a lot about the football program or maybe men's basketball, but the women's basketball team is very exciting this year, off to a great start, 6-1. Again, the only loss was a close one to South Carolina, who was they just had we're recording this on the 25th of November. They just had their 43 game winning streak, stop, but they're a hell of a team, and
Mhm.
you guys gave them a great run. So, folks, if you're in the area, this is about going to Chrysler for a women's basketball game is about as expensive as going out to a movie, and
Mhm.
it's better. than some of the movies. Certainly, most of the movies I've seen. So
triple the fun.
Yeah, and it's just a great time. So do yourself a favor and get out there and support the team. Thanks again, everybody, for listening. Follow us on social media. It's simple. It's Leaders in Next. Look forward to having you stop by the next episode. Take care. Go Blue.
Go Blue.
Go Blue.